Sharing a Drink with Matt. Today I'm talking to New South Wales punksters, Jamie and Dylan from RayGun Mortlock.
He's got his shirt on.
Hey.
Hey guys.
How you going?
Good, mate. How's the weather there? It's pissing down here. Can you hear it?
Only just, yeah. It's a bit cloudy and gloomy up here as well.
Yeah.
It's hot here.
Hopefully it won't fuck the Wi-Fi up, so we should be all right.
Well, it's the Wi-Fi kit down there in Wollongong.
Oh, mate, when it's wet, it's fucked. So anyway, where'd the name RayGun Mortlock come from?
That's a good question. It was Harrison. You know the actor Harrison Ford.
Yep.
Well, so he was a carpenter before he was an actor, and his dad lived on this really dilapidated houseboat, and it was near the point of sinking. And he did a lot of work on his dad's houseboat. And when he repainted it, never actually had a name, so he gave it a name and he called it RayGun Mortlock. It was about 1978, 76, before American Graffiti, way before Indiana Jones.
Before Star Wars?
Way before. I mean, it's the early 70s.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but that's what happened.
So the next question obviously has to be, how the fuck do you know that?
Oh, the library in the Wollongong High School was really limited to magazines and pamphlets full of lies. Generally, yeah, that's how I knew that.
No worries.
Wollongong.
Didn't hug you. They didn't embrace RayGun.
No, they didn't like it at all. Some of them did, but it's a weird town back there. It's different now. Now it's very arty and has like a cafes and places that sell crochet violin strings and things,
Knitted condoms
but
and shit.
Yeah, stuff like that. But back then it was really rural and inbred is probably the word. So yeah, they didn't. It's got a lot of rich people from Sydney live there, so it's a different place to what it was when we started there. Yeah, you know, it's like, probably the same as areas near where you live.
I used to live in Green Tree Caravan Park. I think it was
Green
Hills.
Oh yeah.
But you know exactly what I mean.
Oh yeah, Green Hills.
Yeah.
I lived right next door to this guy, and he had long blonde dreadlocks and a long grey beard. I can't remember his name, but he looked
numerous people we know.
Yeah, there's a few of those around there.
He's probably dead or in jail though.
I can understand because back then it was weird. Like I remember me and the ex was sitting there drinking at the pub one day, and this lady went into fucking labour, and this was like 7 o'clock in the morning. She went into labour, took her to hospital. About 3 o'clock that afternoon, we're still at the pub drinking. She turns up. Yeah, I've had it. Fucking everyone's shouting a beer. Like, I'm thinking, fucking hell, this is only going to happen in a country town. She's just giving birth to a baby and popped it out. And then she's walked back down the fucking pub. Yeah, I've had it. You know, let's have a beer. Congratulations to me. So I am.
Did she actually go to the hospital to have the baby?
Yeah.
They used to just, a lot of them would just have them in the pub.
It's one way to get free drinks besides lying to people that it's your birthday.
That's what it used to be like,
yeah.
Well, it's hard. I've got 8 kids, and the bump doesn't leave as soon as you have the baby. Yeah. So, well, she said she did, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Though it wasn't very. I mean, everyone there sort of liked their ACDC and that sort of stuff, but it wasn't really
for sure.
Especially with what we started doing, it just more gave everyone the shits than anything.
Particularly my dad.
Yeah, everyone they were used to seeing cover bands that played Screaming Jets covers or the Angels covers. And I like the Angels and all that stuff. But at the time, it was sort of, we were more into other things and noisier things. We liked a lot of the older Australian stuff like the Birthday Party and X and, Grong Grong, Lubricated Goat, all that stuff. But there were not many people. There were not many people in the Wollongbar that liked that style. Yeah, they were more interested in having children and things.
Dancing to AC/DC while they're licking the ice cream off their dad's beers and shit.
Yeah.
Who does the songwriting?
All of us, sort of. The actual music side of it, I have to sort of come up with what comes out of my mouth.
Come out with the bass idea, and then you just sort of polish that idea from there.
I was just asking. I've got a therapist in Coolangatta that you guys, can check out. Like your lyrics are fucking insanity, man.
Yeah, but a lot of them are based on people that we knew and things that happened. It wasn't all made up. They were really based on things happened, conversations I really had with people. There was a lot in there about wife beating and incest and
domestic violence.
You name it. But that was it. That was a reflection of where we're from, and
it was our reality for us almost.
Yeah. Particularly the incest.
Yes, great emphasis on that word. Yes.
Not saying a bad thing.
No, kissing cousins are pretty good, eh?
So tell me about playing with X.
When I was in that, I don't know what year that started. We supported Steve Lucas's current version of X he had at the time. We did a fair few gigs with them. And he wanted to come up our way and play again, but because of the way that, all that old punk stuff, it doesn't generate very much money to cover expenses and such. So he wanted a way to come up and sort of do gigs up here and use people already up here as the backing band. So it was, I played rhythm guitar. Brett Callahan, who was a fellow we knew from Wollongbar, he played bass. He actually knew Ian Ryland and that back in the day. He was an ex-Sydney dude, so he knew him from back in the day. And Ned played drums. And we did that for a couple of years. We ended up taking that show down to Melbourne, played at the Espy, and where else? I can't remember. Went to Sydney a few times. It was good. They were good old songs to play. I just got to play guitar. I didn't have to sing or anything, so I got to play guitar and
sit in the back and mind your own business.
Yeah, stand at the back, and it was good. I remember first time we did the Aspirations album from start to finish, which was my idea because that was the album everyone liked. So I said, why don't we learn the whole thing from start to finish? And we did sort of a little tour just based on that.
Yeah.
And that was good. Yep.
And I've got to bring up Pineapples from the Dawn of Time. Like that's when you brought that up.
Story.
that is like, fuck. I haven't even thought about that band.
Yeah, it's probably Betty did.
I think they were the like, because I grew up on the Gold Coast, and they were the band that you put on when you had a session. You know what I mean?
Actually, Michael Gilmore, the singer, told me that when they first bought Triple J, because Triple J, when they syndicated it to all the other cities, when it went to Brisbane, they had to set up the transmitter or whatever the fuck it is. And the first day, all they did was play Too Much Acid on repeat for 24 hours while they were sorting out all the technical side of things. So that was the first Triple J thing to be played in Queensland, were Pineapples from the Dawn of Time. But I see when RayGun Mortlock started going to Brisbane, the bass player Rod McLeod was one of the first people that really liked us and thought it was, I don't know if he thought it was funny or actually enjoyed it, but whatever.
Camp fashion.
So he ended up, a good mate of ours, and then the rest of the Pineapples. And at one stage, I don't know, I think their drummer had an argument with the guitarist at the time and he quit, and I filled in at the last minute. And I ended up doing that for a couple of years. Not all the time. It was only a few gigs. We did a few gigs with Dave Warners from the suburbs when he came up. So that was good. But I was always a fan of all that old Australian shit. But I found it more interesting than what's popular sort of at the time.
Yeah.
But they did it all first, really, didn't they? That 70s, 80s generation of punk bands,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Did you guys play much on the Gold Coast at all?
No, we bypassed it altogether. I think there was 2 gigs we did. I know we did one off the Hard-Ons at Coolangatta. I think we did one with the Selbit Rifles at Coolangatta, and that was it. We went straight to Brisbane.
Yeah,
and that was where we
else on the Gold Coast.
And that was where that was where we did all our gigs. We never had any following or interest, or we weren't friends with any Gold Coast bands. I don't even like the Gold Coast. Like we're at Tweed Edge, and I don't even like walking across the street into Queensland. Really?
Yeah, that's it. Well, I remember changing the sign once. The sign, I think it's just out of Coolangatta. It says, "Welcome to Queensland, beautiful one day, perfect the next." And I put out, scrubbed out perfect the next, and put jail the next. That's all that happens when you go to that fucking place. I mean, I've been listening to your stuff like from the beginning. My kids are just punching on at the moment. Can you guys fucking stop? This is how, this is how fucking dysfunctional this fucking show is. Anyway, like now you just fucked my question. I can't even remember what the question was. Can you guys remember what I was just saying?
No.
Something to do about the Gold Coast.
You've been listening to our shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I've been listening to your stuff, and I've like.
The correct term is shit.
Like because I usually ask people, do you do a cover? Would you do a cover? And you guys do Blockbuster.
Jesus
Jesus Lizard. And I want to know the album cover of I've got copy if you want it. Is that like because the same of the Jesus Lizard, their cover that's got the song Blockbuster on it is pretty much like the same cover?
I know what you mean, and I have never thought of that, but now you say it, I know exactly. You mean that the cover, the Jesus Lizard album was Head, I think, and it had the girl on the seat holding something.
That's it.
And the one we used was Travis holding this this drug addict we know in Brisbane, and he was hilarious at the time. So me and the bass player from Ironside and Dirty F-Holes, we didn't go to sleep for days on end. And for some reason, the idea we came up with, because it was a split single, the idea was to get Travis and with a rooster. Then we couldn't find the rooster, but Troy, the guitarist in the Dirty F-Holes, had that black chicken, so we just used the chicken, and it's not really a rooster. So the joke doesn't really work anyway. But I know what you mean. It does parallel the Jesus Lizard thing. No, that wasn't intentional. That is clever. That is well. You're right. It does look like that.
It does, yeah.
I'll have a look at that later. I've got the LP, but that what you Jesus Lizard one.
Yeah.
Well,
starting off, like what bands were you listening to? What was on the stereo when you were growing up? And this is one each, like you both got to answer this. Like,
well, he's younger than me, but I imagine it was the same. It was AC/DC, Led Zeppelin.
Oh, it was mostly whatever my dad was listening to. Maybe AC/DC or Well, basically, my dad had, because like we didn't have TV growing up essentially. So what my dad would do is he'd like whenever he'd get hold of a television signal, he'd tape video clips off Rage or video hits and shit like that and put them on a cassette tape, and we just watched that for days on end when there was no TV signal. I
think Lubricated Goat, their bass player, couldn't play or something because Bill Gibson was on bass.
Oh yeah.
And it was fucking brilliant, man. It was, like, I reckon Smelly Tongues, their music.
Is that the fella from
Eastern Dark?
Yeah. See, so the drummer from Eastern Dark lives in Wollongbar. and he used to come to a lot of the gigs I'd put on in Murbar.
Okay.
Why can't I remember his name?
I keep hearing rumours that bloody Dave from Selbert
Well, yeah,
Rifles.
he does work at and yeah, the guitarist from Selbert Rifles lived in Murbar too. So Dave from Selbert Rifles and is it Mal, the drummer from Eastern Dark? He's a nice fella. They used to come to all our gigs when we were putting him on in Murbar.
Back when there was somewhere to play in Murbar.
Now there's nowhere to play in Wollongbar, so that doesn't happen very often.
Since the flood, everything just got fucking wiped out.
In some ways, it's better the town gets wiped out.
Yeah, it's about time we had a fucking bar.
I mean that metaphorically. I'm sure it's terrible for my parents and everyone else that lives there.
Yeah. It's good to see we're drinking the same shit. Awesome.
So you've probably you've been around for a while, so you've probably supported it. Who's the best band you've supported?
None of them. We're better than all of them. No, no, we. I don't know. The hard-ons were always good to play with them. I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that I really enjoyed. Yeah, it was before he was in it. We actually got a good support next month with a band from America called Whores, who are really good. So that should be good. That's in Brisbane.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of other noteworthy ones we did. It was more, so it's more like to see where we, like normally you start a band and you're in a capital city and there's other bands and you have a really tight community and it's really supportive and everyone pulls each other off and it's a glorious experience. We didn't have any of that from Wollongbar. So pretty much whenever we went out of town to play anywhere, it was good. Just to have someone to talk to that wasn't throwing a chair at us or threatening to kill us. Or,
Yeah. You didn't play fucking Dirty Deeds, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, that's what we used to get. Like, why don't you play something we all know? That was being from Wollongbar, that's all you got trying to do gigs there.
But then again, like, when we did that, it was actually the first gig I did with them. We did this gig in Wollongbar about 3 years ago. And it was, a really nice homecoming, seeing that, all the old familiar faces coming back together and going, oh shit, RayGun Mortlock's playing. Fuck, we better, chuck a sickie for work the next day, get the babysitter in. Fucking, we're going down to see them because
we taught them to love again. That was always the goal.
I'll tell you what.
I learned to love again.
What are you playing on your stereo at the moment?
Oh, we're playing Angry Samoans just before we started this.
Yeah, a bit of Sam Hain as well, I think.
Yeah, Danzig and the Angry Samoans.
Yeah.
And Tad before that, before Dylon got here.
Tad, are they that like kind of pro fucking?
No, Tad were a grunge band from Seattle.
Yeah.
At the same time, Nirvana and all that.
Another sub pop band.
But they were really good. They were the best one. They were the most unpopular one, but I think they were probably one of the best ones.
Well, the bloke's name is Doyle, so
he had the same last name as my name.
Yeah.
So, have you guys got an escape plan if this doesn't work out for you? Have you are you in a chef or a bricky?
It already didn't work out.
This is our escape plan.
It already didn't work out. It didn't work out from day one.
Oh, you must be doing good. You must
job. Yeah, we have jobs. He works at a
work on a microgreens nursery, growing little tiny baby herbs.
He works at a nursery, and I make bulk amounts of sandwiches for a university.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. Yeah, through the day. But before that, I was what else did I do? Steel fixing. I managed a strip club for 18 months. That was when the band really stopped happening.
Boiler making.
No, I wasn't a boiler. Dad was a boiler.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done stupid construction shit and
Do you ever go to the workmates? Hey, I'm playing tonight. Come and check us out.
No, because I don't like talking to a lot of people, and I don't think that most people don't like us when they say, "Oh, that was stupid. Why would you do that?" That's what it was.
Where I work, it's a little bit different. Like, you know, the guys where I work, they seem to be a bit more supportive of it, of, you know, like what I do outside of work, playing in bands and shit like that. But I never really seem to tell them where I'm playing or when I'm playing. You know, I just keep them in the dark. I don't feel like they deserve to know.
I do remember when we first started, and it was kind of when the band sort of started to take its own sound on and that, and it was pretty confronting is probably the word for what a lot of people were used to where we're from. And they would come and see it and they'd just walk out shaking their heads. I remember the first gig we did was at the Towgan pub. That was the first gig that had RayGun Mortlock written on a poster, and it was with there was a band called the Fish Heads. I think they're all in jail now. And there was
basically stuck
there was
out like a pair
the
of
Fish
dog
Heads
balls.
and Twin City Riot.
Yeah.
Twin City Riot still play sometimes, and we went on first. And there was a heap of Odin's Warriors there who were the bikie gang. And there was people there from work that came to see me when I was working steel fixing, and people from the job site came and they thought it was the dumbest fucking thing they'd ever seen. And and the Odin's Warrior cunt though, he thought it was great, and he goes, "All right, you're playing next Saturday." And I was like, "I don't want to do that." He goes, "You're playing next Saturday." So we forcibly had to play at their bikie clubhouse.
Oh, magic. That would have been great.
And then it was like 2 weeks after that, the coppers busted them up and ripped the whole clubhouse apart and jailed some of them. That was the end of it. And yeah, that was the South Tweed, the set when the Owens Warriors were at South Tweed. But yeah, it was sad because they're really nice people. But it was just the fuckwit police commissioner had a boner over it.
Yeah.
They weren't harming anyone, they was hanging out. Having RayGun Mortlock gigs in their clubhouse.
Yeah, none of that. Fucking none of that.
I don't really know what the problem was.
I'm pretty sure their clubhouse, is that out near fucking Seagulls?
No, this was years ago. They were on Machinery Drive.
All right.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Close enough to Seagulls, I guess.
Yeah, I lived out near Seagulls a few times.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of housing condition out there.
Like you're playing with a band. Have you ever been given advice by a band that's like played longer than you, played, you know, think they rule the airwaves and shit? Have you ever had any good advice?
Oh,
We had minimal support from anyone ever.
yeah. Basically,
Minimal.
don't be shit.
I mean, absolute. Besides when we went to Brisbane, and it was like people that were older dudes that were in the Pineapples from the dawn of time, or the Leftovers, or like those old Brisbane punk bands. They really liked us, but I mean, everyone else was like, "Oh, stop doing this. It's stupid.
Yeah.
You shit at it. You're pissing everyone off. You're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
Get a better band to do it."
But they paid, so it's all right.
They didn't really pay. It was like,
But it's just like
enough to be there to witness it, so
yeah.
it's their fault.
Steve Lucas liked it the first time he saw it. He goes, "Oh, there's a lot of potential there, and it's really funny." Because when we started, a lot of the bands weren't humorous. It was very serious.
yeah.
But to us, it was this hilarious joke.
Yeah.
This joke that made everyone feel bad.
Yeah, I think it was a bit too
But
relatable.
yeah. But he, you know what I mean? It was sort of like those old punk dudes were good. Like those guys that have been in bands since the 70s and 80s. Like they were supportive, and most people our age looked at it in horror. Like,
Yeah.
this stupid shit.
Have you been on a bill that you just shouldn't have been on? Like,
Yeah, nearly all of them.
Almost all of them,
Yeah, all of them nearly. Like I say, the Flanger Panties one comes to mind. The funniest ones we did, and I don't know, there was this band, they're probably still a band. I actually didn't understand who they were or why they spoke to me so much. There was a band from Byron Bay, and they were called the Fumes, and it was just a duo, and they were very, very popular. It was like a John Butler trio, sort of folky, rootsy sort of. They were good at what they did, but there was 2 times they got us to go and support them at the Great Northern, and I mean they pack out the Great Northern with hippies and conspiracy theorists and
Been there.
yeah, you know what I mean, like people that have recently moved there from Sydney with lots of money that were trying to get in touch with it, nature and things they didn't actually ever understand.
Chris Hemsworth.
So it'll be packed out with those sorts of people, and they asked us twice to go down there and support them, and I was like, I remember the first time they paid us and everything more than we'd ever paid to go and do this fucking gig, and it was in between songs, and this is when I realised when you're in a band like us, you got to keep the gaps in situations like that really short, because you can't have that room for no one clapping, because in between songs you could hear the pin drop. It was like crickets. And my dad went to the first one. He drove down from Wollongbar, and there was some dreadlock cunt there, and he's like, I've been busking on these streets for fucking 10 years. All I ever wanted was a shot to be up on that stage at the Great Northern. These fucking idiots come here and they fucking make a joke out. And we shouldn't have been at that. And then they got us there again. And then I think they asked us the third time, and I said, no, I said, it's just ridiculous. I don't know why. We think it's real funny. So, yeah. That's what happens when you play comedy rock.
Yeah. Isn't there a pub in Wollongbar that's got a fucking band night? Like, I don't know, this is probably years ago. Like
I ran it at the Aussie Tavern.
Yeah, the Aussie Tavern.
That was me. I did it Friday and Saturdays, and we used to get every band that was touring. So anyone that was coming through, if they were coming through from down your way or whatever, and they were making their way to Brisbane, we could give them a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday gig. So we got all sorts of bands, and that pub was great. That was, you don't really appreciate it at the time, but that was just like this shitty brick fucking bar-flight pub.
Yeah.
But the publican, was just this bogan fella, and he was kind of like, oh, we'll do whatever you want. Here's your money. You can pay him. And we'd set up at the end of the pub, because I had my own PA system, so I could do that sort of thing. And it was good. It was all punk gigs. It was all punk bands generally. And it was great.
It's probably the first time I saw you guys back in the day.
Yeah, well, it would have been.
Yeah, because like, bit of backstory. I mean, like, I'm only spring chicken. I'm only 24. I only joined the band 3 years ago. But back in the day when RayGun was active, they did play at the Aussie Tavern quite a lot.
And the Condong Bowls Club.
Yeah, Condong. But with the Aussie, my dad lives at the pub just a couple of doors down. He's lived there for about 15 years or so. But every week I'd go stay at his place, and we'd go down to the Aussie for dinner and shit and go and watch the bands or whatever. But even though I don't quite remember it, I swear there was a time I would have saw RayGun Mortlock play back in the day when I was still at school.
But I remember when you came to Condong.
Yeah, the Condong ones. Yeah.
See, the ones at Condong were good because they were all ages. So we do these gigs with all these metalcore bands.
There's only one, isn't there?
What?
There's only one venue you could play at Condong, isn't there?
Yeah, the Bowls Club on the highway.
Yeah, sort of like the last one left in Wollongbar.
So what happened was, when we started, and this is dredging my memory, there was a big pub. The main pub in town was called Murray's, which was the Wollongbar Hotel, and there was this there was a band that would play there every month called Fat Albert, and they were a really popular covers band.
They're fucking good too.
They're really good covers. Like if you wanted to hear April Sun in Cuba,
better band to do it.
The best rendition of April Sun in Cuba that you'd ever hear in your life. Yeah, beautiful rendition of April Sun in Cuba. So when we first, when we first got a set together, and I don't remember how it happened, but they were trying to play less and get more money. They said, look, we can't pay you, but if you want to, they said, oh, we got to do 3 sets at this pub. So they said, if you want to go and do the first set for us for free, we'll let you do that. So that meant they only had to do 2 sets and got the same money. And back then they packed the pub out just with people that wanted to hear terrible fucking covers of terrible songs.
I'll be at the back slitting my wrists.
And
is there a third person in here?
oh, there's like 7 in here.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
We're actually in the middle of an orgy, but
Yeah.
Off in the house.
It's like your house. Full of like 14 people.
full of band members and groupies.
So yeah, and then I remember we played that, and we emptied their room out really quick. They all ran out back to the cigarette smoking area just to get away from it, because we did a version of Viva Las Vegas that lasted. We had a 10-minute version of Viva Las Vegas.
We're doing that tonight.
That was painful.
So
It was horrible, yeah.
cover of a cover.
But that was the beginning of it. And then when they said, oh, you're not ever allowed to play here again. And we went out to, like you say, the Bowls Club at Condong, and there was the old cunt that ran that. And I spoke to him, and he basically said, he goes, we can do whatever you want here if you think someone will come here and buy piss.
Yeah.
So we started doing punk gigs there. And there were other like-minded bands around, young bands that couldn't play anywhere else. And it did it, and it built up over a couple of years. And they were good. It was what was needed, because those bands that were in the same boat as us. You know what I mean? They couldn't play anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's the same story as any little towns that have.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely, 100%, 100%. So did you ever? You brought up Murray's. How many times you played there? Like,
Just
because
that once.
that was the pub where the pregnant lady took off and had a
Gary
baby
Bird.
3 hours later.
Oh, that's where you were when she had the baby.
Yeah, well, we were all sitting at the table. She went, "Oh my God, I think I'm going into labour."
Oh, I
And
thought
she
you were moving.
went to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I think it only took her 2 hours to give birth, and then she was back at the bar. I was like, fuck.
That's a great way to get free piss.
Yeah, but
Honestly, I'm going to use that next time. I'm writing that shit down.
Going with
Had the baby. Most of us had to crawl out of the abortion bin.
I've got to ask one thing. Is there a Josh McDonald?
Oh no, that's a whole other
Oh,
story.
that's a different kettle of fish there.
That's not his real name. He played guitar with us for a very short period of time when Zach quit, and he lived at Cabarita. I was trying to remember if it was Pottsville or Cabarita or something like that. And he was a real. I don't know if I should be saying this on the interview, but anyway, I don't care.
It's not
He was
defamatory.
fucking weird, and he sort of stalked us online, and he really, really wanted to be in the band. And eventually I said, all right, we'll try you out. I shouldn't have ever done that because I don't even know, he was mentally unwell. But it was kind of like you go and do gigs, because at the time we did all these gigs. We were doing Brisbane, and then we do Redcliffe, and then we do Hammett. We just was doing all these gigs around Brisbane and Brisbane surrounds. And he'd just go up to people and say shit like, "Where's my sound man?" And it's like, there is no sound man. We're in Redcliffe in some shitty little pub with a vocal PA in the corner. There's no sound man. And stuff like that. And he was real aggressive, and he was just like kind of this weird little nerd. And he was just this angry little fucking nerd. And then as years went by, I found out other people that had been in bands with him said, yeah, we had to take out AVOs on him, and we had to distance ourselves from him and that sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he was scary. He was sort of like a, you watch, like, you're into serial killers. you watch all those serial killer documentaries, and it talks about what they were like when they were in their like early 20s. Well, that's what he was like. He was a scary fucking cunt. Yeah, he's probably
listening to this right now.
That's I already put the song out on the record.
Yeah, we don't even have to repeat the line.
Yeah, it's kind of like he would have. I'm sure he already fucking heard the song when we put it out on the record, so it doesn't matter now.
I'm sure it makes
story behind.
I'm sure it makes his fucking blood boil.
He was a scary little fucking prick. Maybe I don't think he's killed himself. I hope he has.
I found him on Facebook a little while ago, actually.
Oh, he's psychotic. He's
Yeah,
fucking mental.
Anyway,
so that's the story about him. But he was only in the band for about 8 weeks. Like that was the weirdest thing, and you can tell how bad it was. It spawned that entire song.
Yeah, he's been immortalized as a result.
Yeah, it was a very short period of time. It was, yeah.
Yeah, it's I sent out this thing, asking to interview bands and everything, and I got a message. This guy going, yeah, really, I'm up for it. Is it for free? And I said, yeah, man, I do it for free, but to promote your band, to get people to listen to your band, So, and he goes, no, do you pay us?
No one gets paid for interviews.
No.
I said, are you for fucking real, man? Do I pay you?
I think he is, Morrissey.
Do you pay for the fucking, for us to get the plane up there and to for accommodation and spending money? I said, no, mate, I don't on the Zoom. It was just like, this is a non-profit thing. This is for you guys. Like, I'm not getting money off this. Like in fact, I'll never get a cent. But this guy's asking me, do I pay him?
That's not how promos ever work.
Once again, who does he think he is?
What band was he in?
He was, and this is a funny thing, he was a session drummer.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. I was probably housemates with him.
I've been getting messages off him saying, yeah, I'm really keen. Whenever you guys get in ready, I'm really keen. Anyway, guys, sorry to leave it at this note, but thank you.
The question is for you.
Okay, yep.
All right, you only have 4 seconds to answer them. Who do you think shot JFK?
Oh, that's
3, 4. Time's up. Time's up.
You have to pick one, but which do I dream of Genie? 1, 2, 3, 4. No answer. How many meters above sea level are you?
What was that one?
How many meters above sea level are you?
How many meters above? Oh, I don't know. Actually, about 1 because we live on the beach.
Is Norman Gunston really from Wollongong?
We live in Wollongong, yes.
No, it's just a good thing for Malcolm Fraser.
Oh, wait. What time is it?
What year is it?
Put it this way, I'm still waiting for Harold Holt to fucking splash.
Is that when he died?
Hey? No, he died at Bondi.
No, he's coming back on one of those French submarines that never got built.
Is that where Harold Holt drowned at Wollongong?
I thought it was Victoria.
My daughter's just come in and she's dyed her hair and it's ridiculous. What? Anyway.
No children, so I'm never going to have an issue ever.
Except me.
I've got one more question. You guys
What's an ounce worth in Wollongong?
About $420.
Are you serious?
Well, at least it's the right number.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to finish this now?
No, I just want to ask the question. You got
You
the
didn't answer any
chance.
of mine.
This is how we're finishing it off. You've got the opportunity to put together a 5-band gig. Who are the 5 bands?
Well, that'd all be RayGun Mortlock.
RayGun Mortlock.
Yeah, of course. That's got to be first.
What?
You got to be headlining the show, don't you?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, I guess we could, but that means we have to play last.
What do you mean? Do you mean like fantasy bands in other countries, or just bands that I actually know that would do it?
They can be dead if you want them to be.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Paul and Oates,
Christopher Cross,
Christopher Cross,
Ace,
Ace,
yeah, Paul Carrick.
Paul Carrick's Ace.
Yeah, definitely Paul Carrick.
Supertramp.
Yes. And
Yeah,
we
that'd
can
work.
be a good backing band.
Oh, I just realised, yeah, he's in the background.
You
Here.
guys have got the same humour. You have the same humour as him.
Well,
like-
he was an influence and has
You got-
an influence, as will be.
Cover
Yeah.
of Dynamo Hum. For me, do a cover of Dynamo Hum.
We'll do.
Well, we do. Shoelaces, our Dynamo Hum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
yeah.
We'll do. We'll have to do Jazz Discharge party hats.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to do whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on the show, man. I try to make it as unprofessional as I can.
Well,
So,
you
to the right
succeeded
place.
there, particularly where you lost half of it. All right.
You guys, no, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, you guys are the latest album you sent me on
Gold
Messenger.
Mine.
Yeah, I've been listening to that. That's fucking brilliant, man. Like you've matured so much from what I've heard. Because I went back to the beginning and I've listened, and you guys are fucking. It is an album that I've been listening to every day for the last, 2 days.
You're gonna love the next one we're working on.
We're
It's got even more depth.
yeah, we're trying to. We're slowly but surely trying to get an
Yeah.
album's worth of stuff together.
Yeah, the next one will be. You'll like the next one even more.
Excellent.
All right. How do
Look.
I turn this shit off?
You just press record. But I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna get a couple of bands from Wollongong to invite you down here so I can give you a listen. If you guys can do that, that'd be fucking great. I'll get it.
It's one of those things. I will do anything as long as someone organises it.
Yeah.
And it's worth doing. I don't mean that money. I mean as long as there's a crowd there and it's worth making the trip down for. Like,
Wollongong's got the best fucking scene at the moment. I think Wollongong is doing the punk scene a fucking justice, man. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. I've loved the interview. Cheers, fellas.
I had more questions for you, obviously. All right, see ya.
Finding out what's new. Yes, if I could, I would keep hanging out with you.